Hey everybody, it's Party Elite. Welcome back to another episode of our Planet Zoo franchise mode Let's Play. We're going to dive right back into Elite Zoo South. As always, there is quite a lot to get done today, and I am thoroughly excited to explore all of our very many options. I've been receiving some excellent suggestions in the comments with regards to a variety of things, and it's actually doubly ideal that we're loading into the zoo at night. Because some of the suggestions I got actually work best when implemented at night when it comes time for our time lapse. I think today's time lapse, again, I think last session I kind of said it was going to be a beauty / lighting pass time lapse. It might end up being a bit of a blend of daytime and nighttime work. We'll see, but I've got a lot of ideas in my head, and I got a lot of ideas from the comments as well that I want to execute, and I'm really excited to go forward with. And it should really help bring together our Australia / Africa kind of blended transitional section. It should kind of bring all that together quite nicely, I think, and just start putting the finishing touches on those areas. This time lapse will probably happen within the first half of this session, I would dare say. It's possible that our initial management will take a little bit longer than that, but there's just a couple of things I want to touch on before we dive into the time lapse. We're going to hopefully completely finalize, well, you know what I mean when I say finalize, right? But we're hopefully going to make a lot of progress, get us to that 99% mark between these two enclosures as far as, lighting and beauty is concerned. There will be a couple of things that will be left for, later, just because there's always something left for later. I know we'll come back here eventually, inevitably, so I just want to put that out there so that when it eventually happens, nobody says to me, it's like, but you said we were done here. No, we're never done anywhere. Right? I could, for all intents and purposes, I could go back to the kangaroo enclosure one day and be like, I just realized this circle could be better. Not that I will, not that I intend to, but someday it might happen, and I just want to make sure no one's ever surprised if we ever decide to come back to these spaces and add a little bit more work. But that's me rambling and ranting about something completely irrelevant. Let's try and stay a little focused over here because there is a lot to get done. So the first thing I want to do actually is get some of the name suggestions in here, because I got quite a few excellent name suggestions that I feel would... again, I want to get them implemented. I want to get back into the flow of implementing name suggestions as they come through, especially when it comes to these stores. And yes, even though I often forget to point out the washrooms as well. And I've got the name suggestions for the enclosure as well as the path over here figured out. So really excited to get all of those in. But let's start over here with some of these stores. Now with the Gulpy Energy, I'm going to need more vendors. There's actually a bit of management stuff that needs doing urgently. Fortunately, we're doing this paused so we can get to it after the time lapse. But there's some management stuff that needs doing urgently, and there's some management stuff that I'm going to do in a dedicated management session. I'm thinking maybe the one that releases next week, Tuesday, is going to be a dedicated management session where we focus on the animals, spend some time with the animals, make sure they're not inbreeding like the giraffe that I missed. So before I forget, because I know I will. This is what I mean. It's like the game was giving me all the signals that we are in we're in the danger zone as far as these kinds of situations. Let's put you on contraceptives, so that's the only inbred baby we have over here. But I need to definitely go through and sort all this stuff out. I'm pretty sure Deo was the one who was not supposed to. Honestly, you had two options. You had to go with the one you weren't supposed to go with. Come on. Just my luck. Anyway, or actually, hold on a second. Do they have, you know what? Hold on. I know I'm just getting further and further distracted, but this is the roller coaster that we embark on every day when we do one of these episodes. Polygamous. Okay. Males track females. There's nothing about like an alpha who is the only one that mates with the other females or anything like that. There's nothing like that. So yeah, you know what? They very well could have paired, rather, Jabulani and Deo very well could have paired, but instead Deo and Rashidi ended up pairing. The combination that wasn't meant to be decided to be. But that's the giraffes taken care of. There's not much else we can do about that. It is unfortunate, but I try to keep my eye on that top left corner as much as possible, but sometimes things will slip past. Now, the Gulpy Energy over here, we're going to call... there it is. So I actually got a couple of name suggestions for this that I really like. One name suggestion I am going to save for later when I eventually up over here add a water, like another pip shot water. So if you gave the water the water vendor name suggestion, you know that it's coming, you know that it's noted down. I am saving it for later because I think it'll fit quite nicely, and I quite like the name suggestion. But we did have a couple for Gulpy Energy. Instead, now it is going to be called Pop Pop. I really hope saying Pop Pop doesn't make my mic pop, because P's are plosives and they can do a number on microphones and speakers. But yes, Pop Pop is our Gulpy Energy, for which, you know what, I'm going to just go ahead and do this right now. Because I see this tired-looking person leaving, I'm going to go ahead and get our staff, get our vendors. Again, every time we add a stall, it adds one vendor. But typically you want, like, what, 2 or maybe even 3 vendors for a stall. We haven't been doing that. We have not been keeping up with that. So I wouldn't be surprised if quite a few guests are just never getting service when they are looking for food, water, information, umbrellas, what have you. So just going to add a bunch over here. Again, no work zones for these guys. Let them roam free. Where else have I added stores recently? It's so hard to, like, remember. I feel like I've done quite a bit of it. Up over here. You know what? I can't remember if I added vendors up over here, like extra vendors or not, but let's just go ahead and do it. What's the worst that could happen? We have to pay some more salaries, more people, like, manage. It's not the end of the world. We're making money decently. I think that'll do the trick. I believe these guys already work at quote-unquote optimal market-appropriate salaries, so we're fine there. And, you know, the other thing I'm going to do is go ahead and rank up as many of these as we can. I wish you could shift-click to select multiple. Kind of really helpful when you have massive lists is the ability to shift-click to select, you know, a huge line of listed individuals. Instead, I'm basically doing the same thing I would do. Instead of clicking on send for training every time, I'm just clicking on the checkbox every time and then clicking on send for training once. So technically, this is the less efficient way to go about doing it. All right, cool. Train staff, yes please. Go ahead and add a star for everyone. Cool. It's been a long time coming. Again, like I said, a little bit of management to do up front. So that's that taken care of. Back up over here, we've got our Gulpy Energy named. Next up, I'm going to go ahead and name our Cosmic Cow Ice Cream. It is now instead going to be called Pictus Lictus. There you go, Pictus Lictus it is. And over here, the Pizza Pen. You know, I guess we don't have a sandwich shop in the area. Eh? There was a name suggestion for a quote unquote sandwich shop as well. Maybe that'll go. It'll be a beef. Oh, what's it called? Chief beef. It'll be a chief beef. Up top over there with where I said I was gonna put a water stall down as well, like the pip shot water, and I have a name saved for that as well. But the Pizza Pen is going to be called the Painted Pizza, and again making references to the wild dogs. You know. Perhaps future common name as the painted dog. I quite like that. I do. I hope that catches on. I hope that becomes a thing. We'll see. You know, we'll 10 years down the line, we'll see. And of course, no washroom left unnamed is, I guess, a goal of Elite Zoo South. Let's go ahead and name this one. Now, there were a couple of name suggestions. There was a few name suggestions for this one. I think the one I'm going with is one that was requested as a no, don't go with this one. But it was just too good. And how can you do that? You know how, like, you should never present to a client or to a teacher the option that you don't want them to go with, because if you present it, chances are they'll go with the option you didn't want them to go with. But I mean, I guess that makes me part of the problem. Laughing Blue. There you go. Because hyenas. And hyenas, you know, laugh, so to speak. Anyway, I think that's all the naming for these vendor stalls. Just taking a look at my note. If you hear hesitation in my voice, it's me double checking to make sure I've got all that covered. Yep. And I guess, yeah, like I said, the water and, you know, sandwich shop, whatever we decide to make into a sandwich shop in our headcanon, I've got some name suggestions for them up over here as well. Now, I actually want to touch on this really quickly before we dive into the time lapse, which will be, in just a moment. So some of y'all were suggesting that rather than have the hyenas down over here, and just down over here, I should have them be able to come up over here as well and kind of give them the run of the land, you know, across this entire region, I suppose. Not a bad idea at all. In fact, initially that was my thinking as well, and I don't know if I ever shared that or if I ever expressed that, but initially I was thinking that they'd have like much more land over here, and then over time that evolved into, well, they don't need that much space, and plus I do believe the guests kind of need a place to eat and sit and use the washroom and, you know, all that stuff. Guest facilities. I was looking for the word facilities in my head and it was just slipping my mind. I think we need guest facilities up over here because the last place the facilities are down over here. We've got a lot of facilities up over here. We've got nothing over here. Yes, we have some facilities over here, but like, you know, what if they're going to the train instead? What if they're not going down this way, right? Or what if they decide to, I don't know. I feel like we need facilities up over here. Now, what I could do is I could still extend this and have this be an elevated platform. So the hyenas can run around, and then we have like guest seating and feeding up top over here. We could even do an animal talk up there. But it is important to note that the hyena, we're not going to read up on the hyena right now. We'll do it when their episode comes. But it's important to note that the hyena only has a group size of 2 to 4. So it's not like the painted dogs or the dingoes where they can have absolutely massive groups. So if you take a look at the dingo, you know, 2 to 12, the African wild dog, 2 to 27. Like, these are big groups, right? Big packs. Hyenas are not like that, so they're not going to actually occupy all that much space. And just as a quick reference, again, just to quickly go over this. The reason why I'm going over this is because I saw a lot of conversation in the comments, and I encourage that. I encourage those kinds of questions and things like that, and I want to respond to that, obviously. Now, when, you know, 30 people... I'm making up numbers here, but when 30 people suggest something, for me, rather than responding to each comment with the same, you know, relative message, it tells me that, hey, a lot of people are wondering about this, a lot of people are thinking about this, let's make it a part of the episode, right? So that's just, I feel like it's a nice way to approach that kind of stuff. Y'all let me know if you feel differently, obviously, but I thought it'd be, I thought it'd be a nice thing to address considering people's interest at present, and considering that it's an upcoming, you know, within the next handful of episodes, if even that, probably sooner than that, we're going to have the hyenas added in, right? But anyway, so their land requirement is just over 1.1 kilometers square. The region here is 3,900, right? You have that. You have it, like, not have it, but like half it, have it, you know what I mean? Divided by 2. You have more than enough room. And this is roughly this divided by 2. Roughly. You know, give or take a couple of meters square here and there. So I feel like we have enough space. Now, obviously, we can do a test before we commit to that. We can always make adjustments, but I do think we should stick to the hyenas down over here rather than up over here as well. Just because I don't want to give them too much space and then guests are complaining about bad views. And also, like I said, I feel like the guests do need a space, do need a spot to kind of chill out over here as well, to take care of their own, you know, needs and whatnot. Okay, so that's that addressed. The one last thing I want to do, actually, before we dive into the time lapse, and I promise this is the last thing before we dive into the time lapse, that is to shut... Oh. I kind of lied. What I was initially going to do was shut down all of these animal talks, because as it turns out, still broken. But as I was clicking through these screens trying to find where I needed to go, I realized it was mentioned in the comments that I need to still add these guys in here. There we go. That's the last thing we're going to do. Yeah, all good. That's good. I could add a bit of overlap over here. Oh no, okay, we've already got the overlap over there. Okay, good stuff. Why is this not assigned? Why does... Oh, right, because I added that last time. Fair enough. Forgot about that. Probably add an extra vendor for that as well. This is how it always goes down. It's just like, all right, last thing, and then I click a thing and I go, oh, you know what? Actually, I should really do this before I forget again, because I already forgot one time, and so I'll forget again. Even when I have notes, like I don't want to like ever stop an episode to look over at my notes and like slow things down too much. And so it happens often where it's just like something will slip my mind, and I'll check it before I kick things off after the time lapse. But other times it'll just like something will trigger that memory. And anyway, that's taken care of. Work zones, animal talks. Again, apparently they're still broken, or they've been rebroken with the recent patch or the recent update. So, you know, that's unfortunate. Hopefully they find a fix for it. But I guess that is why folks are upset again, because they're being magnetized to these animal talks. We've taken care of that. We've taken care of the naming. I believe, yeah, we're good to go. It's gonna be interesting. So yeah, a bit of a lighting pass, a bit of a beauty pass, bit of a mixed bag, kind of a time lapse today. Got quite a few plans, folks. It's time lapse time. All right, folks, I am extremely excited for this time lapse. I am extremely pleased with the end results. However, I will have to say as well right off the bat, this is one of those time lapses where I definitely thought I'd be able to accomplish a lot more than I was actually able to accomplish. It's been a while since I've had the opportunity to say that, so it's nice to be back to my old ways a little bit, I suppose. Fact of the matter is, some of the things that I decided to take on were much bigger undertakings than I had initially expected them to be, which is, as always, foolish on my part. It's all lighting and beauty pass related, as I was mentioning earlier, but I was honestly expecting to spend a bit more time in sort of daylight during this time lapse, you know, using the time warp to get us there, but yeah, no such luck, no such luck. But we do get a lot done, though. That's not to say we don't get anything done. We get a lot done. You know, initially lighting up the enclosure, just getting a couple of lights in, a couple of nice kind of warm tones in here and there, and then trying to light up our little moon in the middle over here. What I quite like about the plaster building pieces is that they have that texture to them that makes it feel like they have pock marks, or otherwise they have like some type of shading. Like when you look at it like that, it looks like, man, it actually really looks quite good. When you look at it zoomed out, it really does feel a little bit moonish. I actually end up adding a couple more lights on top of that, though, to create some more intense sort of hot spots, if you will. I don't know how I feel about them. You'll see me fiddle around with them quite a bit, actually. I don't know exactly how I feel about them still, but I was spending so much time fiddling with them, I was just like, you know what, I'm going to come back to this with fresh eyes and maybe with some opinions from the comments to change my approach. And now that I look at it, maybe the hotspots are a bit too much, because before I put them in, when we zoomed out, I was just like, you know, that actually kind of looks a little moonish, because it's got that texture, it's got that roughness to it, it's got the inconsistency in the colors. But I'm really, really happy with how this has turned out. It's basically turned out more or less exactly how I was hoping it would, so that's fantastic. Obviously, though, you do see me go in and make a couple adjustments with regards to the rocks across the top there, because I didn't want to have the lights necessarily be exposed. I don't want to just like force them into the ground either. That, like, I try to do that minimally if possible. So I didn't want to do that, and I want to just kind of like nudge in those rocks to hide the lights as much as possible from as many angles as possible. But that's that taken care of. Really pleased, really pleased with how that moon bit looks. It's just, you know, when an idea works out how you wanted it to, and sometimes better than you wanted it to. It's one of those feelings. Going back over here now, though, just adding a couple more lights here and there, because the zoo is getting very, very dark, and every time we expand, we let it stay dark, and it's obviously problematic, and I keep having to come back with these lighting passes, so I'm trying to do a better job of accomplishing that as we move on. But you can see, you know, I actually come back to the enclosure over here, completely forgot I did this, because I realized like some parts of it are still not really all that lit up. When it comes to lighting some of these larger enclosures, I might have to start getting a bit more artificial. It really depends on what I want my angle to be. Because there's a lot of spots over here that aren't well lit, and the thing is, like, if a space isn't well lit, our eyes will adjust. Now again, some people are able to adjust better than others. Night blindness is absolutely a thing. But overall, you know, if a space is entirely dark, then your eyes will adjust and you'll be able to see things. But not really in the way necessarily that you want to experience a zoo, you know? It's like, you can see things, but you can't see things, you know what I mean? So that's something I have to consider a bit, especially with some of these larger enclosures. where the animals aren't guaranteed to be in a spot. I need to think about that, though. I wasn't sure exactly how I wanted to tackle that, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there, I suppose. And now this ends up being the large undertaking that I was sort of hinting at earlier. I was talking a lot about what to do with the African half, if you will, of our passage, right? And I've been mulling over this for a very long time, ever since we first started building this path and started talking about how we can integrate it to both kind of cultures, or both angles, both aspects, both continents, whichever term fits best. And I got some great suggestions, actually, in the comments of the last episode. And I got one suggestion that I basically fell in love with right away. It is so the name suggestion was sort of born out of a story, and the story is what influences the design over here, because I'm trying to build that story out into a physical form. But basically, evidently, there is a story about how the Milky Way was formed. And this is African. I'm not sure of the exact culture, the exact people, but this is a story from Africa. And apparently, the story about how the Milky Way was formed was about a mother who denies her daughter a root dish because it wasn't yet ready, which then made the daughter, very upset, and she threw the roots and ashes into the sky. And the red and white roots represent red and white stars that are still hot from the fire that they were, I guess, being cooked on. And the ash represents the swirling, like the space dust swirl around the stars of the Milky Way. I thought that was really quite interesting. I love these stories. I love origin stories. I love mythology. I love, again, if you follow this channel, you know this about me. And so I was like, okay, I like that. And what we've ultimately gone with for the name of this space is, I'll touch on that when we start putting the name down. But what I've gone for here is, as my, by the way, internet, I guess, died or something happened, but I lost connection to the franchise mode thing, and thankfully it was gone quickly. That was stressing me out. I was worried that this episode wouldn't get out in time. But anyway, point being, I like that story a lot. I thought I'd implement that in some way and make this sort of a bit of a star walk, if you will. You come out in fact, my feelings exactly were transposed in the comments as well. Sorry, where like you kind of come through the dark underground passage with Wallacul Way, and then you leave this passage, this cave, and you go through this, this starry corridor, if you will. I feel like it's quite the experience. I feel like it can be quite the experience. I still need to fine-tune it a little bit, and I touch on that a little bit after the time lapse. There is a little bit of fine-tuning I need to do, but overall, I really like the story. I like the idea. I love the connection with the mythology. I like the opportunity to explore and use pieces that I haven't often used, and not just that, but use pieces in ways that maybe I wouldn't have ever thought to use them. So yeah, all around, excellent suggestion, and I really hope you like the end result over here. It's nothing overly complex. It's nothing overly, it's not groundbreaking. I guess maybe that's just me talking my own work down, but I wouldn't call it groundbreaking or anything as far as the execution is concerned. But in its simplicity, I find there is a beauty, right? I like that there is it's just these wooden frame pieces, a couple of lights. Feels very. There's a certain casualness to it that I really like, and it was actually a lot of work making the star layout feel random. Obviously, when you're laying something out, you want to lay it out, but when you try to lay something out to feel random, often it doesn't end up feeling random because we humans don't like randomness, and so we normally gravitate towards patterns and building patterns and finding patterns and executing patterns. So I was trying to like make it feel random. Obviously there are definitely some patterns in there, and I can see some during that time lapse. I could see some forming, but overall I feel like it looks pretty good. It looks pretty, again, casual, a little kind of like loose and chill. I don't know. I really like this space a lot. Maybe because I'm a big fan of like stargazing and stuff. It hits a lot of spots for me, I think, and I'm really quite pleased with it. Now, the name of the space itself, as I was mentioning earlier, the name is Nyoto Way. Now, I'm probably saying that wrong. Feel free to correct me. Feel free to educate me as always. But Nyoto is, I believe it was Swahili for star. So this is the Star Way. Thought it was nice. Again, it kind of matches the overall. There were a couple of other suggestions as well, but to me that stood out as like from an emotional perspective, from like a vibe perspective. It felt right. It felt like it was suitably, equally kind of chill. And when it comes to naming things, I also, of course, have to name the enclosure itself. Again, an excellent name suggestion over here. I am going to be butchering this as well, so again, feel free to correct me, but it is Nahali Pa Mbwa, I think, which is Swahili for the place of dogs. And again, it kind of fits that vibe. I feel like it does, at least. Anyway, that's enough chill vibes for now, folks. I hope you like this time lapse, but that's gonna be it. Back to regular speed. All right, folks, we are back from the time lapse, and I gotta say, I am extremely pleased with how that one went. I mean, I know I said I was gonna do this and that, and we were gonna do part, lighting, part beauty, and I think I might have even implied that we were gonna do a lighting pass across a larger sort of cross section, of the zoo. But I just ended up a little too, I guess, focused on certain aspects and carried away maybe even, but I am more than happy to have done that because I'm quite pleased with the end results. I just want to do a nice kind of like slow walkthrough of this space because you were obviously not able to experience it the way I was in time-lapse speed, but you can see how like we come through our little cave over here. We get the tree cover, and then I think I want to like make it a bit more dense as well. I think I want to make this a bit more blocked off and seal off the view of the natural sky over here still. So you'd go through the cave, and then you come out through the trees, and then you come in through this little walk of artificial stars, if you will, our own little personal starry way. And I just really quite like how this looks. I think it looks. I don't know. I'm not used to. As y'all know, wait, hold on a second. I completely ruined that because I've got my flashlight on. There we go. Let's turn that light off. There we go. Here we go. All right. So you come out from the cave, very dark. You've got the tree cover over here, and then there, it looks so much more majestic with the flashlight off. Look at that. Like, I'm just so very right. I don't know, maybe it's just me. And again, I'm not one to toot my own horn all that much, but I'm pretty pleased with how this is looking and how this feels and how it would feel to kind of like walk through this. And as you look down, like, oh, look at that. I'm so happy with this. I wasn't sure how I was going to pull this off coming into this episode, having the idea in hand, but not knowing how I was going to pull this off. I was a little nervous about it, but I knew it had to be done. And here we are. Yeah, you know what? I'm really quite pleased. I was tempted as well to add some more stars to like the lights to the sides, kind of have them across the sides over here as well. But I felt as though that would take away from what the lights are supposed to be, which is they're supposed to be stars, right? And you don't have stars to your sides; you have them above your head. Now, yes, okay, if you're looking at the horizon, they are, theoretically to your side, but not actually. You know what I mean? I understand that potential excuse for it. I just didn't want to. I didn't want to go with that, and I quite like. There's something about there's beauty in scarcity, I suppose, is what I'm trying to say. I don't know if that's the best way to put it, but that's the way I'm going to put it right now. There's beauty in scarcity, which is to say, part of the reason why I think this looks good is because of the the counterpoints. As I say often, I use this quote often, that music isn't the notes, it's the pauses between the notes. Much like that, art design isn't necessarily the art, but the space between the art, so to speak. That is what makes it sometimes. And I feel like the fact that these things are used sparingly. Now again, it's hard to say sparingly when you look down like this, but as you pass through it, I feel like because they're used sparingly, it looks quite good. And because they're used sparingly, as you look down it, it doesn't feel just like this, bright hot spot of lights. The word sparingly is starting to sound very weird in my head now. But no, honestly, just like so pleased. Look, and even from a distance, I'm so pleased. I'm so pleased. I hope y'all like it as well. A lot of time went into that, obviously, and I hope y'all like it as well. One thing I did still need to do is actually officially rename our enclosure. I just realized that. So let's go ahead and, I'm also going to want to light this up, actually. Let's light this up first. Sorry, I should have done that in the time lapse, but it just occurred to me right now how dark it is because I turned the flashlight off. But let's go ahead and get the my favorite floor lights. Of course, I can't just search floor lights. Come on, party. Over to lights, over to floor lights. There we go. These guys over here. I wonder if this will work. Of course it won't. I mean, I know it's pointing the wrong direction, but I don't think that'll be the only thing. Yeah, exactly. It's not going to work even if it's pointing the right direction. Let's go ahead and get you like so. And by the way, I'm sure during the time lapse, I've already pre-apologized for this profusely, but it doesn't hurt to apologize again. But I will be butchering the pronunciation of this enclosure for some time to come yet. I look forward to your explanations. Those of you that might speak the language, I look forward to your corrections, your teachings, if you will. And I look forward to trying to find an example that I could use as well. I tried finding, I typically try and find a vocalization, I guess, of words I don't recognize. Words that I know I'm not going to be able to say right, but I was having trouble with this one for some reason. So yeah, I obviously look forward to your explanations. Sorry, I'm just getting a little stuck in there with the lights. You can see why it takes so long sometimes for me to get lighting passes done, because it's just like I want to place the lights properly. I want to try and tuck them away. I want to make sure they're lighting the right angles. I want to make sure they're creating the right emotion with their light, with the color and everything. Got to make sure that things aren't obscured. Got to make sure things are somewhat grounded at least. I understand sometimes we have to abandon realism, but I try, at least to a degree. Ooh, I do quite like that. All right, let's go ahead and try and see if we can't get that happening over here as well. I guess not. Oh no, there we go. Yeah, that feels good. Cool. Okay, excellent. Right. So the reason why we originally came here, my apologies. Let's go ahead and get the name in here. So this is going to officially be renamed Nahali Pa Mbwa. I don't know if that's correct. The original suggestion, if I recall correctly, maybe I copied it down incorrectly, but the original suggestion was Nahali Pa Mabawa, I think. Like there was an extra A in there, if I recall it correctly. And apparently that means place of wings, as opposed to this, which means place of dogs, which I'm fairly certain I said during the time lapse, so I apologize for repeating myself. But yeah, I just thought that was a fun little, because I looked it up. I was like trying to I wanted to make sure I had the meaning of it right and all that. And I was like, place of wings. I could go for some wings right now, but I don't think that was the intent there. And so a little bit of kind of search and whatnot, what went down, and I realized, okay, this is probably what was intended. So yeah, Nahali Pa Mbwa. I don't know if that's correct. Feel free to correct me, because I'm almost certainly wrong. And by the way, if I didn't mention it, I should mention it. It is Swahili. So yeah, nice little kind of tie-in over there. And since we're talking about it, no, I definitely talked about that during the time lapse. 100,000% sure I talked about that during the time lapse. All right, that's all done. I think we're good to finally hit play now. It's been a minute. I think we're good to finally hit play. Just doing a quick once over, sort of a glance at everything. Yeah, what I want to do right off the bat today is, unpause. I want to actually get some more education boards up as well. Not the animal ones, but the conservation ones. It's been a long time. It was pointed out in the comments in the previous episode. It's been a very long time since I last added any of these, and yeah, Really, there's nothing else to say to that. Yeah, you're absolutely right. It has been way too long. So why don't we put some down over here? You know, make better use of this space. I feel like we could even find a way to integrate it into our, like make little cases for them. I know I say that all the time, but it's always something that I want to come back to with a beauty pass. And it's always something that gets, yeah, I know, delayed. I need to force myself to come back to these and make some of these boxes, I suppose. Land sharing versus land sparing, I'm pretty sure is relevant, if I recall correctly. Buddy. Gonna click on you for a second here. Where's my Zoopedia? I believe coexistence between dogs and humans, land use planning. Yeah, I feel like that is a fitting. Look at the sky. I'm so glad I was here for that. I really hope you heard the yelp. Oh, are you gonna play? Are you gonna play? You should play. Play together. Do it. Come on. Come on. I didn't think they were actually going to. Oh, man. That was great. I really hope that was, oh, and if, yeah, there we go. There it is. There it is. I really hope that was, lit well enough. I know it was a little backlit, but I didn't want to turn the light on and have it, go overexposed all of a sudden. I don't know. A moment's, panic. Those are where my heart attacks will come from when I eventually start having them. When, not if. Oh god, a little morbid. Wait, how many puppers do we have? Well, this one's just a baby. Oh my god. Okay, a baby's actually really good stats. Ade, good stats as well. And you, Shani. Not the best stats, but still gold tier. Gonna mark you for trade over here. I marked the A stars and the T's. They're probably all going to get traded out, but it's just, I guess, a reminder for me in terms of pricing. Not that I ever typically end up referring to these things, which is, that's on me, but that's the intent there. Whether I do it or not, that's a whole different problem altogether. Anyway, I got... Management session is when we're going to take care of putting everybody on contraceptives and everything like that. These guys, are y'all too crowded in here? I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case. Yeah, Dad... Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go ahead and keep you and you and you, though you're elderly, and you. Actually, you know what? We have a couple of pregnant ones already, so let's go ahead and keep the pregnant ones instead. There. And keep these guys. That should do the trick. Cool. Again, this is also stuff that needs to be managed. It's been kind of like neglected in many ways. We just kind of left it to just be. I don't like that. Alright, where are we? To just beetle. I am very lost. Here we are. Africa. The zoo has gotten massive. I am going in the literal wrong direction, and it took me arriving here to realize I'm going in the wrong direction. Wow. Alright, back on over here. By the way, I want to say as well, I got some great suggestions. Look at these crowds. This is fantastic. People have taken up these places immediately. Like, I noticed before the time lapse as well that we got some pretty good crowds as far as the vendor stalls over here. Like, we were seeing some pretty good numbers. But, like, geez, this is a lot busier than anticipated. By the way, some of y'all have been suggesting I change these flags up a little bit because, of course, they look like a particular country's flag. And I think I will go ahead and do that, and we'll do that during a beauty pass or something, get it to be a bit more clear with regards to what I was going for there. But again, I want to try, at least to a certain degree, and stay focused. Something that I can really bad at, I know. Go ahead and lower you a little bit. I like them. I don't know. I kind of like them down low. I like them down low. I like them up high. They're good either way. They're like high fives, you know. Right, let's go ahead and get you to what? Population fragmentation. Is it relevant? I mean, I guess it's never really irrelevant if we're talking about sharing space, right? I guess that works. Yeah, sure. Let's do that. I'm cool with that. Just a couple up over here, and I mean, again, I can just probably build a case for it right now if I wanted to. We'll do it during the beauty pass. These are the little things that I feel like we can save for later because there are other things that need tackling. In particular, this cave over here needs a bit of security. It also needs more power, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, we'll need some more power in here. Where is... Sure, I have a camera somewhere in the area. Probably one of these. There we go. And go ahead and put one right inside, basically. Give some pretty good coverage. I can get it. I can get it to look right. I mean, this does not look right. There we go. Yeah, perfect. Step in, and right away there's this eye looking at you. Alright, that works. And where does power extend up to? All the way up to there. We should be able to make that work. Should be able to make that work. Go ahead and duplicate you. And if you look at security... Again, a slight blind spot, but we got so many of them. What's one more? I can move this a little closer, but like, how much of a difference is that really going to make? You know what I mean? There. Sure. I guess I could move this one a little bit closer. I could duplicate this one, sure. Go ahead and pop you down over here. There you go. There you go. I guess I should take security a bit more seriously. Yeah, still a bit of a blind spot, but not the end of the world. What's going to happen in this small blind spot? What's the worst that could happen? I guess someone's pocket could get picked. Oh, they're so cute. Those animations seem like weirdly, like, kind of sped up, didn't they? Oh my god, don't vacuum up the little pupper. I know, you know, this episode's thumbnail is probably also one of these adorable little things, isn't it? I know I've been doing it for a while, but I can't resist. They're just so cute. They're too cute. I can't decide which... Okay, I wasn't sure what was about to happen there. I was a little worried when he started walking on water. Nope, nope, nope. Don't you dare do it. Don't you dare do it. Ooh, stay lying down. No, what is this? Stop it. There we go. Stop it, I said. I think we're good. I really need to keep an eye on these. Again, we'll be doing a cleanup very, very soon. Contraceptives across the board, trading across the board as well. We're gonna get it all cleaned up. Llama Lane is it? Oh my god! Oh, whoa, whoa! Why is there? Why? Yeah, why hasn't Llama Lane been cleaned? Okay, you know what? This is the other big thing that I wanted to take care of, which is getting more of more staff. And look at that. We turned off the animal talks, and happiness is back up again. Seems to be the source of a lot of trouble. So, staff. Go ahead and pause for a second here, because I'm actually going to get quite a few staff members. We're going to get ourselves a couple caretakers here. And get ourselves a couple keepers. I'm going to assign them to South America. One of our largest, like, zones. I feel like we could use some over here. Another security guard. No zone for them. Come on, give me my little pop-up. Why? Why does sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't? I actually want another vet as well. It's been a while, and we have been starting to see kind of like moments where I go like, oh, I wish I had another person still available to why can't I pause? I wish I had another person still available to teach. Or sorry, not to teach, but to research. There we go. Go ahead and no work zone for you. You, my good friend, are going to be working South America Center. Clearly, we're having trouble over here. You, if I could pick you. Come on now. There we go. You're going to be South America Center, and you're going to be South America West. Cool. Hopefully that helps a little bit over here. I think Australia is going to need some love as well. Man, it's still so cool that guests are actually using this space now. Still haven't caught the crocs using this underwater feeder, have we? Still haven't had it happen. Negative impact. Is this the wind turbine? All mechanic for this. Pet research complete. That's the dingo done. Alright, with the dingo done, go. Ugh. We're gonna go ahead and take a look at these fun facts. Like I said, we're gonna come back to them. It was a request, and I quite like it. I didn't see any or hear any voices of dissent. Let's look at the fun facts. So dingo, fun fact number 1, interbreeding with domestic dogs has resulted in unusual colors of dingoes, such as black or white individuals. Oh, okay, I didn't expect to be taken aback by the first fun fact. Number 2, the dingo is thought to have been introduced into Australia by seafarers 4,000 years ago. It is hypothesized that it originated from a dog like the New Guinea singing dog. Okay, so 2 things. First of all, why is it called a singing dog, and I find it on YouTube? A. B. Right, so we actually touched on this a couple of sessions ago now. I mentioned how the dingo is... It was an intentionally... like, questionable statement where I was, like, talking about indigenous species versus invasive species, and I was talking about how, like, you know, technically the dingo is an invasive species. Yes and no, right? They were, again, thought to. It is believed that they aren't local to the continent. However, there is a tipping point in time where something becomes considered indigenous. And it is, in fact, at this point in time, integral to the local ecosystem. It was actually a comment in response to what I said, which, again, I want to make very clear. I appreciate. I'm not saying this to be like, yeah, man, I know. I totally appreciate it, and I love being checked. It's very important that we check people. And when I say check people, I don't mean body check. I mean fact check, right? Like, if I say something, my intent clearly didn't come across as clearly as I thought it did, because, you know, I was the one saying it, so I obviously knew what I was trying to get at, but I wasn't very crystal clear about it. I was jokingly referring to how, like, you know, again, not actually technically, but in theory, you know, one could say that at one point the dingo didn't, quote unquote, belong on the continent, and so it is also an invasive species. But in truth, and in sort of how things work, obviously over time, an invasive species becomes you know, very integral to the local ecosystem and is no longer considered invasive, but instead is indigenous. I always find it interesting to consider what those tipping points are when that switch flips. Obviously, it's not a literal, like, hey, yeah, you know, overnight, well, you know, you've crossed the 4,000 year mark, so now we're going to consider you an indigenous species. That's not exactly how it works. But I do wonder about what the theory is, what the I guess mentality, or well, what are those, you know, sort of check boxes, I guess. Which is, again, more what I was getting at was, like, just pointing out how that's interesting to me, that they're considered indigenous and even integral, even though a long time ago they were invasive themselves. This was, again, in conversation about the interbreeding and the you know, where do we draw the line, and where are the issues, and what are the issues of dingoes and dogs interbreeding, and all that jazz. Anyway, sorry, I get caught up in that conversation a lot because I do find it quite fascinating. I find it a very fascinating topic. It's just one of those things that I have one of those, like, curiosities and passions about. So I do apologize, but it's fun stuff. Fun fact number 3: the dingo fence in Southeast Australia is 3.37 miles long. This game, man, you can't decide. It's like Canadians can't decide if you want to do, like, which system you want to use. It's about 5.42 kilometers. 5.42348928 kilometers. All right, about 5.5 kilometers. All right, cool. Long, and was built to protect sheep from dingoes. Oh, wow, okay. I want to know. I definitely want to know more about that. That's got to be obviously a larger scale effort than one farmer being like, one shepherd being like, okay, listen, these dingoes. Fun fact number 4: dingo pups will often be fed and cared for by the other members of the pack as well as their parents. Yo, that's cheating, man. You literally, that's right from here. Isn't that right from here? No. Oh, you know what? A litter of pups. Pair of monogamous stay with them. A family pack will look to meet. Oh, did they seriously? With the wild dogs, they talk about the subordinate dogs, but with the dingo, they don't talk about the subordinate dogs, and so they just tuck it into a fun fact. I don't know how I feel about that. Fun fact number 5, dingoes have very flexible wrists that enable them to clutch prey. This also gives them the ability to open doors and gates that dogs or wolves could not get through. Oh, hold on a second. That's priceless. Can you imagine? I love to imagine that fun fact number 5 was found out shortly after fun fact number 3 came to be. It's like you build this massive fence, but you're like, well, we obviously have to be able to cross the fence, so you build some doors into the fence, and then, hey, turns out dingoes can operate doors. Oh. I really want that to be true, just for the comedy of it. That's pretty cool. Actually, that is pretty cool. Now I'm curious as to where that kind of evolutionary trait, I assume evolutionary trait, came from. I hope it's because they had to open doors on the fence. But it almost certainly isn't, because that's not how evolution works. Not that quickly, at least, or so we think / assume. Anyway, that was fun. You know, I definitely am down to go through fun facts more often. That was fun. Okay, let's go ahead and resume. I didn't want to like stay stuck in. Let's go ahead and resume. We'll need to pause again shortly thereafter because I'm going to be hiring more staff. My apologies. Let's go ahead and pick up a couple more caretakers. Those keepers in the South America section really have to start doing their job, because that llama warning has been happening for a while. That is a problem. Keepers as well. 1 keeper. And anytime I put down 1, the window doesn't pop up again. It's so weird. Maybe a mechanic as well over here is not a bad idea. So these I will assign to the, I think I'll assign to the Africa section. The Africa, like, center section. I feel like that's where we need them. I think we have enough in Australia. We'll find out soon enough. But we did just add a bunch of stuff up over here without having any support for it. 1 mechanic. And you know what? Why not another security guard as well? Sure. Go ahead and let them hit the ground. There we go. What are the chances I drop 2 people on, like, top of each other? Alright. Go ahead and get you working where? What is this place? This is Africa Center. You as well. Africa, whoops. Africa Center. Center, yep. You in Africa Center as well. Mr. Mechanic. Please and thank you. And you over here as well, Africa Center, sure. And then security guard, no work zone assignment for the security guard, of course. So now we can finally actually hit play. All right, cool. Hopefully that'll do the trick. You guys gonna play again? Come on. Yes. They're so cute. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what they think they're doing, but I love it. Maybe this is why I was taking so long to add any of the tippy taps. This is definitely why I was just subconsciously taking time before I started adding any of the dog-like animals, because I knew what these episodes would devolve to, at least for a handful of episodes. Me just watching them. I don't even care if it's the same animation. It's just like, yeah, you know, just loop the same idle animation. I will watch it. What you doing, buddy? Whoa! What's going on? This is... Oh my god, that was adorable. It looked like they were just kind of like following... Is it mom or dad around? Very cool. This is... Oh man. This is making my day right now. Look at these 3. Well, like, totally look like a troublesome trio. Looks like somebody else is causing trouble, though. And of course, is you. Up over here. Monkeying around. You're not supposed to monkey around. Go ahead and turn this off. I knew I forgot it. I realize that this is entirely on me. You know, if we accept the fact that this is how the game is supposed to work, which it's not. On the bright side, at least, the warthogs are no longer escaping through the glass barriers. Alright, things are looking pretty good, actually. Things are looking pretty busy up over here. It looks like guests are quite enjoying these spaces. This is good. We can also take a look at their... oh, look at that. Oh, right, of course, because they're not being magnetized to animal tox anymore. Right. Animal tox, more like animal toxic, because it makes everybody upset. So I like to see a happy dingo. The view from the dingo here is quite good. You can really tell they put a medium amount of thought into the planning. I love it when you compliment me like that. Don't let my head get in the clouds now. African wild dog's better than this. Listen, there are some wonderful viewing angles. You're about to have some more offspring or jaguar babies. Oh, this is making my day right now. Oh my god. They're so cute. Look at how different their behavior seems to be. Oh, come on. Seriously? Like, I was thinking, I was gonna say it out loud. I was like, you know, we haven't hung out with the dingoes, the dingo pups in a long time. Let's spend some time with them. They're adorable too. And then of course I get gifted for visiting. Only polite, I suppose. All right, this has been a pretty good session. I'm trying to figure out if there's anything else I want to catch up on before we call it here. We've taken care of staff. Again, there's a lot of stuff to take care of as far as the animals are concerned, but I want to make sure that is a concentrated effort. I'm like just making a list of like things to do during that management session. I like to like pack a management session, like points of exhaustion, basically, where it's just like by the end of it, I'm like mentally taxed because of how many things we've taken care of. Because I feel like I get a lot done, and then we can kind of like set it aside for quite a while afterwards. One more thing I'm really excited to just check in on is the fact that, again, we have baby monkey's actually seeing this. I'm glad I came here because seeing this reminds me. Well, that was a very unfortunate game crash, but it is what it is. We're back here now, and I think might have lost a little bit of something. I think we maybe missed out on... I think we've lost our newly hired staff up over here is, I think, the main thing that we're missing out on. Which, you know what? I'm just gonna leave until next time. I'm gonna leave until next time, and I'm gonna do it at the same time as I do the other thing I was gonna do, which is assign coolers across the zoo. And the reason why I'm doing that is because, you know what? We're at the hour mark, and I feel like if the game crashes again, it'll be very unfortunate. I'm just gonna leave it where we are right now. Just got to remind myself to hire more staff and get coolers across the zoo, because again, it was mentioned quite rightfully so that some of these spots are still a little too hot, especially the newer zones that we've just implemented and integrated. But we'll deal with all that later, folks. I apologize for the abruptness there, but equally abrupt for me, I suppose. I'm trying to like de-abrupt it a little bit, but this is where we're gonna call it a session. I hope you enjoyed this one. A lot of really cool stuff got accomplished. I think I'm really happy with how this space is evolving and coming through. Pretty soon we're gonna have the hyenas in there as well, and it's really gonna complete this space, and it looks so different from anything we've done. So pretty excited for seeing all this get done. Hope you all are as well. Hope you had a good time. If you did, you know what to do. Let me know by leaving a like and a comment. As always, it makes a massive difference in just how I approach the content on the channel. Of course, on the topic of massive, a massive thanks goes out to all of the channel members and patrons who've been supporting the channel on a monthly basis. Y'all keep us alive and running smoothly. And of course, a big old thanks goes out to each and every one of you for watching. Until next time, cheers.